Imagine for a moment that consciousness, the thing that allows us to think, feel, and question who we are, is in fact a tragic mistake. A philosopher once suggested that we are creatures who should never have existed, trapped in the illusion of a self that suffers simply because we are here. What if the most honest act of humanity were to renounce everything and walk toward extinction? Stay with me until the end as we dive into this idea that may make you question your very existence. Once upon a time, there was a world where everything flowed in harmony, without the need for explanations. The earth turned in silence, the sun rose and set, the forests breathed with the wind, and animals lived their eternal dance of hunting, fleeing, living, and dying. Imagine for a moment that consciousness, the thing that allows us to think, feel, and question who we are, is in fact a tragic mistake. A philosopher once suggested that we are creatures who should never have existed, trapped in the illusion of a self that suffers simply because we are here. What if the most honest act of humanity were to renounce everything and walk toward extinction? Stay with me until the end as we dive into this idea that may make you question your very existence. Once upon a time, there was a world where everything flowed in harmony, without the need for explanations. The earth turned in silence, the sun rose and set, the forests breathed with the wind, and animals lived their eternal dance of hunting, fleeing, living, and dying. Wolves chased deer across the hills, birds cut through the sky without leaving a trace, and the sea kissed the rocks with infinite patience. There were no questions, no doubts, just the pure flow of existence, a balance that demanded nothing more than simply being. Then, something changed. A new being emerged, a stranger in this harmony. It didn't just eat, sleep, or flee from predators. It thought. It looked at the stars and imagined stories about them. It felt the weight of time slipping through its fingers. It built shelters to protect itself from the cold and created words to name what it felt. This being was humanity, and with it came something no other animal possessed: consciousness. Suddenly, the world was no longer just a place to live. It was a mystery to unravel, a stage to perform on, a burden to carry. While a falcon flies without ever wondering why it is alive, we invent reasons, create gods, write poems, and cry over things that haven't even happened yet. Consciousness gave us the power to dream, to turn stones into tools and ideas into realities, but it also brought us the torment of knowing that everything ends, that our bodies will fail, that time is a relentless thief. We are the only ones who look at the horizon and feel both wonder and fear, the only ones who build castles to escape the rain, and then wonder if it was worth it. It was then that Arthur Schopenhauer, a 19th century philosopher, stopped to reflect on all of this and reached a disturbing conclusion. Human existence should never have happened. For him, consciousness was not a gift, but a tragedy, a misstep in the grand dance of evolution. He believed that nature, in its blind perfection, never intended for us to exist, so fragile, so full of thoughts, so separate from the rest of the world. A deer doesn't know it's a deer. It doesn't mourn its falling leaves. But we know who we are, or at least we think we do, and that condemns us. Schopenhauer saw humanity as a lost species, a fragment of nature that had torn itself away and now wandered aimlessly, carrying the weight of unanswered questions. For him, life was not a gift to be celebrated, but a cycle of suffering, a wheel that turns endlessly, driven by desires that are never satisfied. We want love, power, eternity, but everything slips away. Everything falls apart, and consciousness only makes us aware of this with painful clarity. Faced with this, Schopenhauer proposed something radical. If existence is a mistake, if our presence here is a flaw that only brings pain, why continue? Why insist on perpetuating this tragedy? He wasn't speaking of chaotic destruction or impulsive despair, but of a lucid, almost serene choice: to stop reproducing, to stop bringing more lives into a game no one asked to play. To walk together, hand in hand, toward a quiet end, where humanity says goodbye and returns the planet to the silence it knew before us. For him, this would be an act of honor, a way to correct the mistake we are, to turn off the lights and close the curtain with dignity. But here's a question that lingers. Was he right? Think of all the things we do that no other being can. We paint pictures that capture the sunrise, build bridges that defy rivers, sing songs that span generations. Have you ever felt that warmth in your chest when someone you love smiles at you, or when a story transports you to another world? Schopenhauer would say this is just another trick, a distraction to keep us trapped in the illusion. But what if it's more than that? What if this consciousness, as heavy as it is also what allows us to create beauty in the midst of chaos? Perhaps the question isn't about giving up, but about learning to carry this weight differently. We look at the sky and feel the void, yes, but we also invent constellations to name the infinite. We suffer with the end, but we also plant trees for a future we will never see. Are we really a cosmic mistake? Or are we something nature never imagined, something imperfect, confused, but capable of turning nothing into something? Schopenhauer wanted us to say no to life. But what if, instead, we said yes, not to blind illusion, but to the possibility of creating something worthwhile while we are here? In the end, perhaps it's not about extinction or continuity, but about what we choose to do with this strange gift of being conscious. We are stardust that learned to think, and that may be a curse, but it could also be a miracle. So what do you think? Are we a cosmic error or a unique chance? Leave your thoughts below. I want to know what's on your mind after this journey. If this reflection resonated with you, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next videos. Let's keep exploring these ideas that challenge who we are. Until next time.